The alien empire ruled thousands of star systems. They were strong, proud, and cruel. They believed no species could stand against them. Especially not humans. Humans were new to the galaxy. Small in number, weak in technology. Easy to break. That was what the aliens believed. The human was captured during a failed battle. His ship was destroyed. His squad was dead. And his body was badly injured. His left arm was shattered. His ribs were broken. Every breath sent fire through his chest. Pain lived inside him every second. The aliens dragged him through cold metal halls. They did not care if he lived or died. To them, he was already finished. They locked him inside a holding chamber. Bright lights burned his eyes. Machines scanned his broken body. Alien scientists watched from behind thick glass. "This one will not last long," one of them said. "Humans are weak," another replied. The human did not answer. He lay still on the cold floor. His body shaking. But his eyes were open. Pain tried to pull him into darkness. But he refused to let go. He had lived with pain before this day. This pain was worse, but not new. Hours passed. Then days. The aliens expected his heart to stop. But it did not. They gave him no real treatment. Only enough to keep him alive. They wanted to see how long a human could suffer. Each movement felt like knives inside his body. His nerves screamed without rest. Sleep came only in short moments. And even dreams were filled with pain. The alien scientists were confused. Any other species would have died by now. But the human was still breathing. They increased the tests. Louder sounds, brighter lights, sharper tools. They believed pain would break his mind. Instead, something else happened. The human stopped reacting the way they expected. He did not scream anymore. He did not beg. He simply watched them. His breathing became slow and controlled. His heartbeat stayed steady. Pain was still there. But his mind moved beyond it. One scientist noticed his eyes. They were calm. Too calm. "This is not normal," the alien whispered. But the Empire did not listen. To the Empire, this human was nothing. Just a broken body waiting to fail. They did not see the change happening inside him. They did not understand what constant pain could do to a human mind. Pain did not make him weaker. It sharpened him. Every second of suffering trained his focus. Every moment of agony taught him control. The human remembered his training. He remembered survival. He remembered that humans endure. One cycle later, an alarm echoed through the chamber. The machines showed something impossible. The injured human's body was adapting. His nervous system was adjusting. His mind was becoming stronger. The aliens stared at the screens in silence. On the cold floor, the human slowly lifted his head. For the first time since his capture, a small smile appeared on his face. The Empire still believed he was broken. They had no idea. This was only the beginning. Far away, across the stars, a legend was starting to form. The alien scientists did not trust what they saw. Their machines showed strange results. The injured human should have been dying. Instead, his body was changing. They decided to push him further. The Empire believed pain revealed truth. If the human was hiding something, pain would force it out. They moved him to a deeper research chamber. This place was colder, darker. The walls were thick metal. No sound escaped from inside. They connected wires to his body. Machines touched his nerves directly. Every signal sent pure pain through him. The human's muscles tightened. His teeth clenched. But still, he did not scream. Pain burned through his spine. It crushed his chest. It felt endless. Like fire that never went out. The scientists watched closely. Other species would lose their minds. They would cry, attack, or beg. The human did none of that. His breathing stayed slow. His eyes stayed focused. Inside his mind, he went somewhere else. He remembered training from Earth. Cold nights, broken bones. Days when quitting felt easier than surviving. He remembered learning one rule. Pain is information, not fear. He counted his breaths. He separated pain from thought. He let the suffering pass through him. The alien machines reacted. His nervous system adjusted again. Pain signals weakened over time. The scientists grew uneasy. This should not be possible, one said. We are damaging him, another replied. But the human did not break. He adapted. They increased the level. Stronger signals. Longer exposure. No rest. The chamber filled with warning lights. The machine screamed danger. Still, the human remained conscious. Something inside him was changing. Pain no longer controlled him. It sharpened his awareness. He began to notice small things. The timing of the guards. The sound of doors opening. The pattern of the lights. The Empire did not realize it. But pain was teaching him. The scientists started to fear him. They whispered behind the glass. They stopped calling him weak. They called him unstable. One alien guard refused to enter the chamber alone. Another demanded reassignment. Rumors spread through the facility. They said the human did not sleep. They said he watched everything. The Empire ignored the warnings. They believed technology made them untouchable. To them, the human was still just a test subject. One cycle, the machines shut down suddenly. The chamber went quiet. For the first time since his capture, the human was alone. Pain still lived in his body. But now it felt different. Like a tool, not a weapon. He slowly moved his fingers, testing his limits, learning how much his body could take. Outside the chamber, an alien technician stared at the monitors. Confused. Afraid. The human looked up at the dark ceiling. His eyes calm, his mind clear. Pain had not destroyed him. It had prepared him. Far above, the alien empire continued its rule, unaware that inside one small chamber, their greatest fear was learning how to endure. And soon, how to fight back. The silence inside the chamber did not last long. The machines came back online. Lights flickered across the metal walls. The alien empire believed everything was under control. They were wrong. The injured human felt the change before anyone else. A small shift in the air. A delay in the system. Pain had taught him to notice details. The door opened. One alien guard stepped inside. Tall, armored, confident. The guard carried a shock weapon. Strong enough to stop any prisoner. At least, that was the belief. The human remained still on the floor. His body looked weak. Broken. Harmless. The guard moved closer. Careless. Bored. He did not see the human's eyes. Focused. Alert. When the guard reached for the restraint controls, the human moved. It was fast. Too fast for something so injured. Pain screamed through his body. But it did not slow him. It guided him. He twisted his broken arm in a way that should not be possible. Used the pain to fuel the movement. His hand struck the guard's joint. There was a sharp sound. The alien cried out. The shock weapon fell to the floor. The guard tried to step back. But the human was already moving again. Every motion hurt. Every breath burned. But the human stayed calm. He grabbed the weapon, turned it on, and pressed it against the alien's armor. The guard collapsed. Unmoving. The chamber went silent. The human stood there, shaking, breathing hard. He looked at the alien on the floor. This was the first time he had fought back. The first time he had proven something important. Pain had not taken his strength. It had refined it. Outside the chamber, alarms suddenly activated. Red lights flashed through the facility. Alien voices filled the halls. Confused. Angry. Afraid. Security teams rushed toward the chamber. The human knew he could not escape yet. His body was still damaged. But he had learned something more valuable than freedom. They could bleed. He placed the weapon back on the floor, returned to his position, and waited. When the doors opened again, multiple guards entered, weapons raised, hands shaking. They saw the fallen guard. They saw the human standing. Fear moved through them. No sudden movement, one alien shouted. The human slowly raised his hands. His face calm, almost emotionless. The guards restrained him again. But this time, they were careful. Word spread fast. Faster than the Empire could control. A human prisoner. Injured. Unmodified. Had taken down a guard. Whispers traveled through the station. Some called it luck. Others called it impossible. A new name began to form in the shadows. Not official. Not recorded. But feared. The scientists reviewed the footage. Again and again. This should not happen, one said. He is learning, another replied. The Empire classified the incident. They ordered silence. But fear does not obey orders. That cycle. Guards avoided the chamber. Scientists watched from farther away. And inside the cold room, the human closed his eyes. Pain still lived inside him. But now it shared space with something else. Confidence. The alien empire had felt it. Just once. Just a small moment. But it was enough. This was not an accident. This was the beginning of fear. The alien empire tried to erase the incident. They deleted reports. They locked security footage. They ordered silence. But fear does not disappear. It grows. The guards talked in whispers. Scientists avoided eye contact. No one wanted to be assigned near the human chamber. They stopped calling him a prisoner. They stopped calling him a test subject. They started calling him that human. The injured human noticed the change. Meals arrived late. Guards stayed behind shields. Weapons were always ready. Pain still ruled his body. But his mind was steady. Clear. He listened. He watched. He learned. He learned the empire feared what it could not control. The scientists argued among themselves. Some wanted to end the experiments. Others wanted to push further. He is dangerous, one said. He is valuable, another replied. The empire chose curiosity over caution. As it always did. They moved the human again. This chamber was larger, stronger, filled with advanced machines. They believed distance would keep them safe. The tests began again. Not just pain, but pressure, isolation, darkness. The human was left alone for long cycles. No sound, no light, only pain and memory. He remembered Earth, blue skies, open air, things the empire could never understand. The silence sharpened him. It taught patience. Outside the chamber, stories spread beyond the facility, across stations, across fleets. A human who did not scream. A human who survived everything. A human who injured an armored guard. The empire dismissed these stories as rumors. But they still ordered more security. That was when the name appeared. No one knew who said it first. A guard? A technician? A frightened scientist? They called him the Silent One. Because he never begged, never shouted, never threatened. He simply endured. The name spread faster than commands. Soon, even high-ranking officers heard it. The empire's leaders reviewed his file. They saw charts, numbers, cold data. They did not see the truth. The truth was simple. Pain had turned the human into something new. One cycle, during a routine transfer, a transport system failed. Lights cut out. Doors froze. For a few moments, the empire lost control. In the darkness, guards panicked. They feared the human was loose, even though he was still contained. That fear said everything. When power returned, nothing had happened. No escape. No attack. But the damage was done. The empire had flinched. The human felt it. That shift in behavior. That hesitation. They were afraid of him now. He stood in the center of the chamber. Tall despite his injuries. Calm despite the pain. He understood something important. Fear was a weapon. The empire had built itself on fear. Now it tasted its own creation. High command made a decision. They labeled the human a threat. Termination was approved. The order moved through the system. Cold and final. The injured human did not know the details. But he sensed the change. The way guards avoided his eyes. The way weapons stayed locked on him. They were no longer studying him. They were preparing to kill him. And for the first time since his capture, the human smiled again. Because pain had already prepared him for this moment. The legend had begun. And the empire was about to make its worst mistake. The station burned with fear. Alarms echoed through every corridor. The alien empire was no longer calm. It was breaking. The injured human moved slowly now. His body was reaching its limit. Blood covered his torn uniform. Pain pressed from every side. But his steps did not stop. Across the station, commanders issued desperate orders. Fleets were called back. Weapons were powered up. All for one human. That truth terrified them more than anything else. The human reached an observation hall. A wide chamber with a view of the stars. Ships fled into space. Like animals running from fire. He leaned against the cold glass. Breathing hard. Feeling every broken part of his body. Pain reminded him he was still human. Still alive. Security forces surrounded the hall. Dozens of soldiers. Weapons aimed. Hands shaking. No one fired. They remembered the reports. They remembered the screams. They remembered the fear. An alien commander stepped forward. His voice unsteady. "Human," he said. "This ends now." The human slowly turned. His eyes tired. But strong. He did not raise a weapon. He did not threaten them. He simply stood there. In that moment, the Empire understood something too late. They were not facing rage. They were facing endurance. Pain had not made the human cruel. It had made him unbreakable. The commander lowered his weapon. Others followed. Fear outweighed orders. The human walked past them. And they let him go. No one tried to stop him. Hours later, the station sent a single message across the Empire. The human was gone. Search fleets found nothing. No ship. No body. No trace. But stories spread. On distant worlds, alien traders whispered about a human who survived endless pain. A human who broke an empire without an army. They warned their children, "If you meet humans, be careful." Because one injured human had changed everything. The empire rebuilt its station. But it never felt safe again. Every shadow felt dangerous. Every silence felt like a warning. Years passed. Humans expanded into the galaxy. They traded. They explored. They smiled. But the alien empire remembered. They remembered the broken body that would not fall. The calm eyes. The silent endurance. Among the stars. The legend grew. They gave him many names. The Silent One. The Pain Walker. The Unbroken Human. But humans told the story differently. They said he was not special. He was not chosen. He was not immortal. He was human. And that was enough. Because humans live with pain. They adapt. They endure. And when pushed too far, they rise. Far across the galaxy. In alien halls and human worlds. One truth remained. Never underestimate a human in pain. Because pain does not destroy humans. It teaches them how to survive. And sometimes, how to become legend.